It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
That time for your weekly cup of coffee from Slumberland at the Lake. I'm Wild Will.
I'm Uncle Chris.
And on this week's show, we actually have an update on Pin Seekers and the Golf Entertainment Complex. Plus, still waiting to hear back from Chris Foster. Don't really have any news on the Outlet Mall. Have some local headlines. Hey, you remember that umpire?
Yeah.
That allegedly put a Camden County deputy in a headlock?
In a chokehold, yeah.
Well, he's suing Camden County. We'll talk about that, plus Chris Lightco. We're going to tell you about a custom lighting company down here at the lake that you're going to want to use, plus some great stuff happening on Lake TV as we get ready for summer.
Yep.
2025, all that and more. But first, this from Slumberland at the Lake.
Hey everybody, it's Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. We're in the middle of the Memorial Day sale. We've got great deals for every room of the house. That's right, kitchen, dining, living room, and bedroom. You get great discounts, and we're offering 0% interest for up to 36 months. Don't forget, we deliver the entire lake area and beyond. Come see us at Slumberland Furniture, where we're bringing happy home.
The lake has it all. The scenic outdoors, the incredible events, and of course the water.
But did you know 50% of all fatal boating crashes in Missouri last year involved alcohol?
Although we know the lake is all about having a great time, we also know what's most important to you.
So don't forget and always designate a sober captain ahead of time, so this summer won't be your last summer.
This reminder to drive safe, boat safe, brought to you by Price & Randall, injury attorneys.
The biggest names in music visit Lake of the Ozarks in 2025 at the Ozarks Amphitheater. Get ahead of the crowd with the Ozarks Amp Fan Club. Score pre-sales, announcements, special offers, day of show details, and so much more. The best part is, it's free to join, but you've got to sign up to beat the crowd. Visit ozarksamp.com and score big with Missouri's #1 outdoor music venue, the Ozarks Amphitheater. We'll see you under the stars.
Man, the Ozarks Amp Fan Club, you saw that there at the break. Big reason to sign up for the Ozarks Amp Fan Club. And I'll tell you, last week, Thursday, we went out. They had a local artist event.
Yeah.
It was free. You know, and they had 11 local artists regionally from around Missouri, and that was unbelievable.
So good?
Yeah, so good. Plus, I want to give a shout out to Dustin and the hospitality crew at the amphitheater. They introduced their brisket.
Oh.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. It was reason to go back to the amphitheater this summer alone. Was that brisket. But so a great Thursday, and then hey, Monday, in case you missed it, our friends over at Super Splash USA, they debuted the Patriots Plunge, right?
Yeah, the big one right there off of 54, right?
You've all seen it as you've driven by. They've made quick work of getting that up. Well, it's open and operational as they get ready for the 22nd and the 23rd of this month, which is opening weekend.
Nice.
Man, they're moving quick. Got a few things they want to finish up, but don't wait, because opening weekend at Super Splash USA, you'll remember Big Surf, right? All of these years, an iconic property down here, you know, an attraction at Lake of the Ozarks. The new owners come in, and they've been aggressive, and they're moving forward, so we're really excited about opening weekend there. Are you going to be out there?
I tell you what, I don't think we're going to be on vacation that week, so I'm not going to be there, but I do think they're hiring too, and what a great bunch of people. Dave Bush and everything, great organization. Parents, if your kids are looking for a job at a great, safe, wonderful place to work, that is it.
Yeah, and they don't have employees. They have ambassadors.
That's right.
And they run a tight ship, an ambassador program where they really invest in their staff and their team members. So really cool. And I'm just excited because I want to be out there. Brindley's ready. You know, that new kids lagoon that they're going to have, that kids area, man, that's going to be crazy. And Brindley is already ready. We got her season splash pass. They gave those away. We got that for free.
Really?
In March online. So yeah, we're all fired up. Now, hey, another attraction. This one wasn't new, of course, but renovated, multi-million-dollar investment into redoing Super Splash USA, but a new one was Pin Seekers, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And we announced last week what's been going on. No movement, right?
They're just sitting there off Highway 54, kind of right in between Lynn Creek and Osage Beach. And yeah, I mean, they announced, 6 months ago that they were putting in this big fancy golf place, pin seekers, but nothing happened. So you got on the scene to find out what was going on.
Well, reaching out to Tyson Boyer, who is the owner, him and his wife Erin, they've got TED Constructors out of Jefferson City, and they're big into engineering and development. And they had wanted to announce they were partnering with Pin Seekers. And you had seen in the comments last week, Matt Rockelman commented on Facebook they had filed for bankruptcy with a link, and I clicked on that link, and yeah, Pin Seekers, which is actually Pin Seekers DeForest, they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy due to their liquidity constraints and governance disputes, claiming or aiming to restructure debt and stabilize operations under new management. I thought that had all to do with this particular development, not necessarily the case. I reached out and I did get a hold of Tyson Boyer, and he said, yeah, no, there's going to be some things on hold there as far as we announced we're going to be open in 2025. Not only did Pin Seekers announce they filed bankruptcy and we're not going to partner with them, but we are still moving forward with this project. He noted they're very involved in some big projects down here at Lake of the Ozarks already, which a lot of us, including myself, may not have known, including the Ballparks National, their expansion project. They're set to get that restarted, and they're very involved in that. He's also got, him and his wife also have a 4-acre development they're working on in Osage Beach that initially they thought was going to take 10 days of rock blasting, and now it's going to take 3 months of rock blasting. And so when you pair that with obviously the winter conditions, but this isn't mean for the Boyer family and this company that this project is not happening. Actually, if you look at the Lake Expo article that came out Tuesday, I talked to Tyson on Monday, this came out Tuesday, and I looked at that, and it said they even went as far as saying they have the means to make this happen without partners or investors. And so that's probably pretty encouraging. I think it's pretty aggressive, but in talking with Tyson, like, they're very genuine. I really thought he was a busy guy who has a lot of things going, but for all intents and purposes, like, this is a project he sees moving forward. And he says even in the next 30 to 60 days, they will hope to make an announcement on whether it's another franchise like Pin Seekers that they're going to partner with, or if they just decide to do this themselves with some private investors and come up with a catchy name. He goes, but over the next 30 to 60 days, he will look to be making some announcements, but I thought that was pretty aggressive as far as he said, hey, maybe by Christmas of 2025, we would be open. And I was like, so 2025 could happen. And he said, if not, for sure, spring of 2026. So I thought that was good. I could share that news and say, hey, it looks like this is still going to move forward. And, you know, if you look at the Pin Seekers, they're still up and moving into Forest, which is in Wisconsin. I called. Yeah. They still are operational. They had a big Easter event, and so it's just not the company that Tyson and Erin Boyer are going to partner with. But like I said, it looks like they're going to have the means to do this one way or another.
It's tough when you're a business person and you're trying to develop a property like they are there. I mean, I know their original idea was like man caves, and then that didn't kind of work out, so they decided to do the golf thing. And the people they were going to partner with go into Chapter 11, so you got to pivot again. They've done a pretty good job of pivoting because they've had some challenges in figuring out what to do there.
Yeah, and I was encouraged to hear they were involved in some other pretty significant projects and developments down here right at Lake of the Ozarks and Ballparks National, and that, you know, 4-acre multi-purpose development. But all right, so our next headline, we tried to get an update from Chris Foster with Horizon Development and the Osage Beach Outlet Mall, right? The Lake News Online article a couple of weeks ago came out, and Horizon announced, hey, they are excited. This will be the biggest thing since sliced bread that's ever happened at Lake of the Ozarks, bigger than anything going on right now, essentially alluding to the Oasis, right? Yeah. Amusement park, saying bigger than that. And so we announced that discrepancy with the city of Osage Beach as far as not being in contact. And I still have yet to hear back from Chris Foster, and it just makes me think at this point in time, over the last 3 to 4 years, there have been a handful of instances that the Fosters, right, wrong, or different, have been excited or announced big plans for new projects or developments, and it hasn't come to fruition. And so at this point, at this juncture, I'm a bit hesitant to know how big or how involved the Fosters are with the outlet mall or how quick that's going to happen, because that article was awesome. Yeah. But until the city is in contact with Horizon and they've got a TIF or a redevelopment agreement, I don't see the outlet mall happening without a TIF or something as far as that's concerned. And so it'll be interesting to see, but I still have yet to hear back from Chris Foster. And I think what may have happened is the Horizon team was like, hey, like, let's not be picking fights with the city. We've gotten to this point. Let's really maybe keep our hand a little closer to our chest. And so, I mean, I can't confirm that, but just the fact I have yet to hear back from Chris Foster, maybe they're going to be a little more quiet and a little more cautious as far as what they do or don't say. Because, I mean, that article at Lake News Online got the city excited, but it also got people throwing darts at the city of Osage Beach saying, hey, you guys ought to really know what's going on. And it's like, well, we don't know of anything going on since December of last year. And so maybe it was just a timing issue with the Lake News Online article, but it doesn't seem to be anything new since December of 2024 in regards to the outlet mall that I can confirm.
It was just really weird when, Chris Foster came out and gave us all those details about what their plans were and, how soon. I mean, he said, you can look for bulldozers and all that in the next few months. And then at the same time, the city's like, what are you talking about? We don't know any of this stuff. So that disconnect there was kind of unnerving, that, the one side is saying, oh yeah, we've got all these plans, let's get going. And the city's going, we haven't heard any of this. So, there's something going on there that's not good. Hopefully they'll come together and they'll get to work on this and get something done with that mall, because right now it's just an eyesore. But it does seem like, they're a long way apart right now. And you mentioned, the Fosters with all the different ideas. A couple years ago, they had this great idea for a big sports complex, like down KK somewhere. And I don't think anything came of that, that I know of. I haven't heard anything. And then, the first go around they had with the outlet mall, and that kind of fell through. Everybody, knew about that, heard about that. So I'm really pulling, for the Fosters and the develop and everything that they can get this done. But still seems like they're a long way apart.
Yeah, I'd love to see it happen. Pulling for Horizon, pulling for the Fosters, pulling for Take It Off Development, Oasis, all of those pin seekers as far as with the Boyers and what they're going to do with that.
You know what? That would be such a cool thing here at the lake. There's nothing else like it. The pin seekers, the Top Golf kind of thing that they were planning out there, that would be such a cool event, a place to go. I think it'd be hugely popular.
Yeah, and easy, as we talk about some of the new things that we've talked about maybe being ready in 2025, is also George Tucker's new entertainment district down there off the Bagnell Dam Strip, right there next to Neon Taco. We've seen some work being done there over the winter, but you have all these projects, and I think that people get a little antsy here at Lake of the Ozarks. Like, they're ready to see something done, they're ready to see something open, and as we learn and as we're looking into some of these big projects, these big developments, like, they are very complex. They do require a ton of work, and you can just expect delays. And so my hope is that they all come to fruition. But you can see the antsy nature of our Lake of the Ozarks community grow, especially with the outlet mall and the way that went down. Pin seekers filing for bankruptcy. I mean, there's just so many things, obstacles.
Well, and part of the reason for that is because we have had so many delays. It's like with the Oasis theme park. They were supposed to be open this summer, right? But with all the delays with the timeshares and all that stuff, that moved that all back a year, and they've been very open and honest about what's been going on in the time frame, but it's still been a delay. And that outlet mall's just been ridiculous, with all the stops and starts and stories and non-stories, that's just been going, it's been about a decade for that now that's been sitting there falling apart. It's crazy.
Yeah, you're not kidding. All right, so hey, we're gonna move into local news outside of development and Osage Beach, but you remember the Hutchinson murder case? This was crazy. March of 2024, two individuals were sitting in their car outside Jets Trampoline Park. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that, yeah.
David C. Davis, 22, was shot in the chest and later died. Now, allegedly, Davis was selling marijuana to 19-year-old Fernando Hutchinson, who approached the vehicle, reached into the vehicle to take something from Davis, and then ran away. Davis and witnesses began chasing the suspect and split up to catch the man. Now, the report states that during the chase, shots were fired and Davis was struck in the chest. Officers went to the residence where they found Hutchinson and the handgun. Now, 13 minutes later, Fernando Hutchinson is charged with armed criminal action and first-degree murder, and now it has been changed to first-degree robbery, second-degree murder, and he gets a change of venue granted to Laclede County, where the case will be reviewed on June 16th with a jury trial set to begin in October. I almost forgot about this.
Yeah.
It's been 13 months since over 13 months since this happened.
It takes so long to do these things, you know, but yeah, it's interesting that this is another one. Just last week, there was another case of the Camden County attorney that was, slated to move to Laclede County. Here's another one.
But that one makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it does,
because
right.
of great conflict of interest.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have to have everyone essentially recused himself in that case.
Yeah, so it's very strange. And this kid, Fernando Hutchinson, just 21 years old. I mean, just a baby, but I mean, these are some big charges here that he's robbery, murder, armed criminal action to be heard in Laclede County now.
He's also got 2 open felony cases currently in Miller County as well. So that was just our update on that. I saw that and almost forgot about that.
Being held without bond too.
Yeah. And maybe rightfully so. But when I saw change of venue, the Hutchinson murder case, I was like, Hutchinson murder case. And then I saw, the Jets, that was crazy.
Yeah.
In March, at the end of March of last year. All right, here's another crazy local headline. Ballparks National.
Yep.
Local umpire allegedly puts deputy in a chokehold. You remember when this story broke?
Yeah.
It was crazy, right? Everybody was attacking this umpire like something fierce.
It was just last summer, I think, wasn't it? So the umpire who allegedly
May
put
of 2023.
So it's 2 years ago. Okay. Time flies when you get old. So this guy allegedly puts a sheriff's deputy in a chokehold after a heated exchange there at the youth baseball game, is now suing the sheriff's office, right? Turning this around, that arrested him, claiming upwards of $350,000 in damages. This umpire, it's Neil Sidebottom, filed the suit in Morgan County, April 25th, against former Camden County Sheriff Tony Helms and Deputy Cole Downing. And in the lawsuit, he claims that Downing violated his Fourth Amendment protection, acted with implicit bias and without warrant, used excessive force, and falsely imprisoned Sidebottom, and engaged in conduct unbecoming a deputy. So he's requesting, the Sidebottom guy is requesting a jury trial to settle the claim. It's getting serious here, but another big knock that might hurt Camden County.
Sure, it's interesting that former Camden County Sheriff Tony Helms and Deputy Cole Downing were listed individually in this lawsuit. Now, just a little bit of backstory on this altercation with the Spectator from May of 2023. Allegedly, law enforcement was called to the scene where 15 witnesses were used to get Sidebottom off of Downing. This is all through witnesses. Now, the probable cause statement alleges Downing was treated at Lake Regional Health System for a fractured rib, multiple contusions on his elbows, his knees, his lower back, and in this, Sidebottom has pled not guilty to a Class A felony of first-degree assault, along with special victim with serious physical injury and a misdemeanor of resisting arrest. His jury trial, which was initially set for October of 2023, was canceled after a change of venue was granted to Montauk County, which is slated for October of this year. Now, it's worth noting that Judge Heller Miller already favored with Sidebottom in his separate suit against Ballparks National for wages owed to him for $200 for that day for his work. And so I reached out to Neil Sidebottom, and he said, now I cannot say a lot without compromising my case. I can say I did not commit a crime that day. I was there doing my job. We had drunk parent issues as usual. There was never an assault on a lady that will come out at trial. They made a false 911 call to create this mess. I followed the rules to a T, handling the issues on the field. I can't give you much more than that, or it would compromise my case. You remember I did ask when this happened, like, how did it ever get to this point?
Yeah.
Because for this to happen, allegedly, where this assault happened on this Spectator, the Spectator would have had to have been in close proximity to the official. I just raised that question, which was never really answered. But after reaching out to Sidebottom, this is what he said. He feels obviously pretty confident in his case, which was interesting to me, and I said I would be happy to share that. But what an interesting situation. The headlines initially that an umpire contracted by the facility, puts a deputy in a chokehold. That leads everybody to believe this is crazy. Well, maybe more to the story, because when you file a lawsuit and you already get one of your suits favored in your favor, $200, it's small, right?
Yeah.
But against Ballparks National, where the wages you were owed for that day's, umpiring or that particular game, just going to be interesting to see. And hey, maybe this gets thrown out, maybe it doesn't, but we'll follow this. I just thought it was interesting. $350,000 in damages. But when you consider like punitive damages, right, if they were wrong or they did, falsely do something, this has been rough on this guy's reputation, right?
No doubt.
And everybody has commented on it, has made things, even people he knows from, the town he lives in are on there chiming in about maybe a bad situation he was part of with them. So there's a lot to be said if he is innocent in this $350,000 suit. We'll be interested to know the outcome of that. Well, October of 2025.
According to the statement for the arrest explained by the department, there were 15 bystanders that got involved in this whole thing. There had to have been some recordings of this. So hopefully, those recordings will come out and kind of prove whatever happened one way or the other.
You see Lake Expo's headline said, if you have video, please send it to us. Like, there were 15 bystanders. Like, hey, but if you were one of those that has video from that day, can we see
Let's
it, please?
see it, yeah.
It's sure. Like, that would surely help. And then, of course, the deputy that was there, like in the probable cause statement, it's that Deputy Downing had tried to get him to stop, and then he wouldn't, and then he reached out to put him in cuffs, and that's when the altercation and the everything ensued. But I was like, man, this umpire, if you see the guy, he doesn't look strong enough to not only take a deputy down, but take 15 people to help get him off.
Yeah.
I mean, you must have been some kind of rage for it to take 16 people, one of which an armed deputy with the sheriff's department.
Yeah, I mean, he must have some training to take down a sheriff's deputy and put him in a chokehold. But when I was reading it, something about, we swept his legs out from underneath him. So he's obviously done some fight training or something.
I don't mean to make light of the situation. Just when you said he's training, it's like to take down LEO, like what?
Wow.
Special training. Hey, as we shift focus here, I wanted to tell you guys about a really cool business that could really help you this summer here at Lake of the Ozarks. Our friend at Chris Lightco.
Yeah.
He's been around in Kansas City area since 1997. They specialize in exterior lighting, servicing, right? Commercial lighting, dock lighting, landscape lighting, pool lighting. Like, I go to the lake and see people's lake houses, especially on the dock series.
Yeah.
They got these incredible seawalls and walkways down to their docks and these oases, right? Well, this is perfect for that, as you see some of the work that Chris Lightco does down here local. I just wanted to give him a plug because he's a great dude and this is a really cool business. I'm hoping that a lot of these lake homes, get to see this guy's work because, and especially dock, like all these incredible docks, find a way to light those up as people drive by.
Yeah.
Be pretty special. So free quote 573-508-0266 or check them out at chrislightco.com. They do great work. And I'm thinking that you might need to have some work done on your dock with some custom lights.
That's one of the cool things about the lake. If you're out on the water and people have, docks lit up, or like you said, seawalls or walkways lit up like that, or the house, it's so cool. And Christmas is a great time for that, of course, but I mean, just all summer long you can do that. As we've seen on your dock series, which is like the most popular show at the Lake of the Ozarks in forever, right?
Hey, it's coming too.
Yeah.
The end of June, early July, get ready. Season number 4, 5.
Wow, those years
the
go
LOZ
fast.
featured doc series, but gonna be awesome. Hey, I saw another headline, this one by KRMS, about the airport here locally, that a bill got sent to the governor's desk, sponsored by Lake Area State Rep Jeff Vernetti, that would actually convey ownership of the airport to the city of Osage Beach, and that was sent to the governor's desk.
So if signed by the governor, as explained, it doesn't automatically, here's the sticking point in this, it doesn't automatically transfer the ownership to the city, but allows for the city and the state to officially work out all the details and everything. But this transfer has come into question by the city because, as is, the city would also inherit some identified sewer issues that come with this whole thing, this property. and that would make the city ultimately responsible to fix it, which could be millions of dollars really when you're talking about stuff like that. So the city not so sure about this right now, the way it sits. Osage Beach Board of Aldermen scheduled to be back in regular session this week, and so I'm guessing they'll talk about it and see what they want to do with it, but maybe those are the details they can work out. This has kind of been sitting in limbo for the last year or two because this airport property could be the biggest airport in the area if, it all comes to fruition.
Sure, and I think that's pretty intelligent by the city just to say, hey, we're great with, getting ownership. However, there's some concerns. And according to KRMS's article, which I read on Monday, it wasn't on the initial agenda for Thursday the 15th meeting, which could have already happened, or you could also go to the City of Osage Beach's website. They do a good job of putting all of the packets, meeting minutes on there, and they always stream everything to their YouTube and to, I think, their Facebook as well. So you can go watch those meetings if you're not able to attend those, but it's worth noting those are open to the public.
Who's the lady that does that?
Jamie Rutledge.
She is so great.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
She's sharp. Yep.
Wow.
Jamie Rutledge, the Public Information Officer for the City of Osage Beach, but she is as good as it gets. And she has really improved communication, not just between Lake TV and the City of Osage Beach, but with all media.
Everybody.
She makes it pretty easy. I'm sure we have 4 or 5 press releases and emails in our inbox from the City of Osage Beach as we speak. No joke. Good job to Jamie Rutledge. Hey, this was a headline I knew you'd like. I think it's disgusting, but a massive Morel mushroom was found in Missouri by a little guy.
Yeah, I love mushrooms, right? But I've never gone mushroom hunting. I know a lot of people that do. They go out looking for these mushrooms. So here we have Jeremiah Wixon and his son River. They're out exploring area in central Missouri. April 30th, they spot a massive Morel mushroom, right? Nearly the size of River's head. And amazingly, they hit the mother lode here, apparently, with all these mushrooms. So Jeremiah and River, they're seasoned mushroom hunters, so they know what they're looking for. But they come across this one, and the photo from that day shows River smiling, holding this enormous mushroom. Appears to be more than twice the size of his hands, nearly as long as his head. I bet that was delicious, man. I don't know that I've ever eaten a Morel mushroom. I don't know if they taste any different or not, but I love sauteed mushrooms, baby.
Oh, that's
you don't like
disgusting.
Them.
Listen, if a mushroom, which is fungus, was on your foot, they'd give you a prescription for it. But you weird people like to fry it up and eat it. I don't.
Oh, there's nothing
get it.
as good as
but
sauteed
listen,
mushrooms.
This is really cool because Jeremiah, dad, says that he's been hunting since he was 10, so for 26 years, and he's never seen anything like it. Now, according to Farm and Dairy, most morels, I don't know how you pronounce it even.
Yeah.
It's a big deal with the mushroom hunters, though, are between 1 and 4 inches. And as you look at that photo taken by Papa Jeremiah of his son River, but it was River's words when they came across this cluster. He goes, "Dad, I think we hit the mother lode." And he was right. So super, super cool story. Congratulations to River. And just as cool for Papa to be there with his boy. Those memories you'll cherish forever. Now, as we look at what's happening on Lake TV, we're thankful you guys watch Cup of Coffee each week, but we have lots going on, including Merlin and Don Vandervoort on the Lake TV Community Spotlight Show.
Yeah, the owners over there at Encore and the Sky Bar Grill over there. Great place, great people, great stories. So be sure to watch that every day at 9, 3, and 9 here on Lake TV. And remember, cable TV's dying. It's going away. Everybody's starting to watch Lake TV streaming, Roku or Fire TV. It's real easy. All you got to do is search for Lake TV, download that. You can watch us for free.
Or mylaketv.com, or of course the LOZ app. One click, super easy to watch Lake TV. And you won't want to miss Weekend at the Lake with David Leatherberry, giving you a rundown on all events happening this weekend, as well as what's on the docket in the coming weeks, plus Furry Friends with Unique Holtz featuring your pet for adoption this week. Hey, and if you see this by Thursday, we're going to have the live School of the Osage graduation this Thursday. And if you didn't get to see this by Thursday, you can go back and watch that on Lake TV's YouTube and Facebook. And pretty excited, Monday, returning to Lake TV, Lotto Homes. We got a
Ooh.
$3.5 million mansion.
Sweet.
With my buddy Jonathan Hartenstein, Lake Ozark Real Estate. Gonna be awesome. And hey, we're thankful to tune in to that you tune in each week to Cup of Coffee. But remember, when you come in at Slumberland, make sure you tell them that Wild Will and Uncle Chris sent you, because if it wasn't for Slumberland at the lakefront, we wouldn't have the show.